This is WeChat, one of the most powerful, popular, and dangerous apps in the Chinese ecosystem. This application allows users in China to transfer money, to send chats to friends, to purchase tickets to concerts or experiences, and it also serves as a social media site where users can converse. Imagine if WhatsApp, your bank account, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Ticketmaster were all belonging to a single application interface. One that would serve as the bridge to every experience, digital or otherwise. And one who has behind one of the largest Chinese conglomerates of the modern world, Tencent. Now, if you think this is dystopian to have a single company powering up essentially the entire digital life of a country, you would be right. From Tencent's perspective, they could have access to veritable troves of data on their users, from messages to posts to financial transfers. One app to rule them all. And remember Disney? Well, they looked at the sheer power that WeChat had and said, I need something like that. And thousands of antitrust judges around America trembled. The Walt Disney Company had been thinking about an idea like that for a long time. Even under Bob Iger, the previous CEO, Disney has sought to bring together the archipelago of digital experiences that they have been creating for the last decade. Think of apps like My Disney Experience to manage the trip to one of their parks, Disney Plus and Hulu for content streaming, or Magic Bands to track expenses at the parks. Even under their previous CEO, Disney had seen the friction that existed across their ecosystem as a weakness to be overcome. But with the arrival of their new executive officer Josh D'Amaro, early in 2026, the idea of a WeChat-like super app became one of the main focus points for the House of Mouse, driving substantial R&D capital allocation. And let's be clear, Mr. D'Amaro may have a point. Currently interacting with the Disney ecosystem of digital apps does create a fair bit of friction, necessitating the constant shift and jump and hop across multiple apps in order to complete a given action. This is how an average interaction with the Disney ecosystem plays out nowadays. Let's follow this example. Imagine a couple wanting to book a fun weekend for the entire family at a Disney park. First, they need to access Disney website to spend thousands of dollars on the tickets. Then they need to hop onto My Disney Experience to manage their whole trip. Here they have to log in again and input their ticket numbers, the ones that they have just purchased. Then they get in the car and want to play some Disney Plus to make the trip less intense for their kids, so they have to log into the streaming app. Once in the park, they are starving, so in order to avoid a 3-hour queue, they pre-order their food via the park app. They finally get to board the ride and they use their phone nope, not their phone. They use a physical Magic Band to get in. And in order to buy a lightsaber for Junior, they use no app at all, but instead a physical credit card. Yet another piece, this one that Disney does not control. You can see how much friction exists within the Disney ecosystem. Much of it unnecessary, let's be honest, and product of Disney's compartmentalized development of their digital infrastructure. The new CEO, Josh D'Amaro, comes from the parks vertical of the company, and therefore he has taken a keen interest in improving the experience he oversaw for many years. This broken down experience, these silos of information and action within the Disney ecosystem, damage the brand in D'Amaro's eyes, and compromise the efficiency of a company that thrives on offering an entire package experience. They are also aware of a fundamental truth of consumer behavior and the way we interact with apps. Each time a potential consumer has to switch the digital environment with which it interacts with the Disney brand, not only friction is built, leading to confusion and dissatisfaction, but also this terrible experience might lead many consumers to opt out of the Disney vacation altogether. If the exorbitant prices won't cause Disney fans to stop going to the parks, then the scattered process to book such a vacation trip surely will. And Josh D'Amaro is exactly the person that would zero in on this particular topic. After all, it is the park's experience, the one that is most affected by the complex mechanism of booking, boarding, and purchasing food at the parks. And once the idea of improving the experience in the park was seeded onto his mind, then his role as CEO put him in the perfect position to want to expand this tool to the rest of Disney. There is no clear definition of what this super app would entail. However, there are multiple degrees of brand integration that this could materialize into. The first one is the simplest one that will result in 3 or 4 streamlined apps to manage some of the largest verticals of the company. For example, Instead of having multiple apps for booking, for reserving food, for paying, etc., we ought to have a single Parks app, one that incorporates the legacy functionality of all the others. Besides it, another app for streaming should incorporate all of the Disney content. Currently, Disney Plus is the most popular, but some of Disney's catalog is locked in Hulu, of which they are part owners. And then there are the apps for ESPN and ABC. Perhaps another vertical app focused on streaming should try and incorporate these tools. These parks and streaming apps are just at the lower end of the scale of brand integration. Perhaps the new CEO's ambitions far exceed the desire to clean up the Disney digital ecosystem and would rather evolve it into a single super app, expanding the entire ecosystem. An app that would integrate within it all of the verticals of the company. Something more akin to the Chinese WeChat that we mentioned before. The experience could be imagined as follows. Once you download the app, you must select the vertical of Disney you wish to interact with. Merchandise, streaming, parks, or even purchasing tickets for their upcoming movies. And each of these vertical sub-apps should have within them all of the services that a consumer might need during their experience. The benefits are obvious. A single app reduces friction and simplifies the process. Within reason, I believe that dealing with the Disney parks is made purposefully obtuse in order to confuse the customer, but hey, at least you don't have to be jumping through different apps. The second most evident benefit would be the fact that now consumers never leave the Disney ecosystem. They book within the park's vertical app on their phone, and they stream Hulu or Disney Plus directly from there too. This will reinforce the relationship of the user with Disney, and reduce the headache of dealing with subscription to different services, and most likely even drive up some top-of-funnel capture of customers that would have otherwise not interacted with parts of the Disney ecosystem. So this is more or less what I mean. I am personally subscribed to Disney Plus, but I have never been to a Disney park. But if I saw the park's icon constantly there every time I want to stream some Disney Plus, I might be more tempted to check it out. The marketing possibilities are also endless, with in-app promotions of merchandise and park tickets. Like we said, Josh D'Amaro has a point with what he wishes to achieve. Additionally, having all of their users' interactions within the same digital ecosystem would allow Disney to better understand and model the behavior of their customers. Their buying personas are now scattered across apps. Disney Plus knows that you like Star Wars and they recommend you movies and shows, but the park site does not, so it cannot offer you a discount on Galaxy's Edge, or a 2-for-1 promotion on Baby Yoda plushies. This integrated environment would solve that. Imagine gathering points by watching, let's say, Marvel movies, and then being offered a discount for visiting the park, and even, receiving a comic book sent to you as a reward for being a superfan. This is what brand loyalty really means. So yeah, this is all something Disney could do, but there is a darker side to this whole environment. Let's be honest, the amount of leverage and information that a company has access to and the way that they can use that information to track and advertise to you might pose an actual, real problem. Nowadays, we're keenly aware of how data platforms posing as social media sites gather our information and mercilessly advertise to us. We have also seen some terrible examples of abuse on the side of some of these companies. If you don't know what Cambridge Analytica and Facebook have in common, look it up. Additionally, super apps like WeChat have been notorious for censoring keywords and being opaque as to how they treat the user's data within the ecosystem. And even if they might only be getting away with it due to the different legislation between the West and China, something similar could happen here too. Listen, I'm not here to tell you that Disney is especially evil. Let me be clear. Sure, they have done a lot of evil stuff, but ultimately Disney is just an economic machine, a simple snippet of code that wants to optimize profit. Currently, the Walt Disney Company holds a privileged and powerful position in the entire ecosystem. We made a video a while ago about why, even with the recent flops, the company remains powerful in the short and medium terms. Every company would abuse any position of dominance that they get. With the potential advent of that super app, Disney would distance itself even further from its competitors, reinforcing their brand, but also hurting the market. Having access to such a trove of data from its consumers might lead to abuses similar to those seen in other companies. Yes, it sounds really fun, the idea of getting a free comic book for watching Avengers Endgame for the millionth time. But think about it the opposite way. What if they could hike up your prices precisely because they know that you're such a fan? Dynamic pricing is a scourge that is becoming another dystopian staple of our present, and an unparalleled Disney with access to your likes and dislikes might be tempted to do the same. We said it once and we will say it a million times. There is no such a thing as a good monopoly. Show me the incentive and I will show you the result. And if Disney is ascended to a position of unparalleled market dominance, well then, everything could happen. It is a brave new world out there. Josh D'Amaro is the perfect person to feel the pain of their scattered digital service. And as CEO, he is poised to take on the challenge of a company that has adapted wonderfully to the 21st century, but still operates with the siloed perspectives of the past. Our current technological level allows for this kind of omni-integration across the entire set of Disney's verticals. Our data platforms and powerful demand-seeking algorithms will offer Disney invaluable insight into their consumers. And that is something that very few companies are willing to let go. More and happier consumers is the mandate and promised land for every publicly traded company. But a super app would also inch even higher up the wall that separates Disney from its competitors, and will undoubtedly raise some antitrust concerns. It also leaves us, frankly, vulnerable. And that is something to bear in mind as more and more companies follow the example of titans like WeChat in the West. I guess if I am saying something, is that there are benefits from Disney becoming a super app, but we must not forget the costs. Even defenders of Disney must recognize this. And it is not only Disney. The entire world of business and finance is changing right now. So if you're interested, we can keep diving into these topics together. Simply click on the video on your screen, and I'll see you there. Thank you for listening.